repaints. Whether you love them or hate them, they are definitely a big part of the Transformers franchise nowadays. Usually when you get a figure, you gotta expect a repaint or retool to come out of it. And that's what this video is about. What I personally think will be future repaints to come out from the Earthrise or any future toy lines. Now, my big main rule is, to be considered a repaint, the head could be different as well. If it's, let's say, Earthrise Megatron and Siege Megatron, that's a retool. A repaint could only be a head difference at most and in different colors. So, with that out of the way, let's actually talk about my honorable mentions. My first honorable mention has to go to Cybertron Downshift, or G1 Downshift. Now, I'd really like an Omnibot style, the Omnibots. The Omnibots are a concept of figures I really want to see again, similar to the Power Dashers. But I feel like they're more likely to do the option of repainting this into a Cybertron style downshift. Now, I did see a Digibash where someone remade Run Amok, or Runabout, whichever, into downshift, and I feel like that would be cool, but I don't feel like that is as likely as a downshift being repainted of this. I feel like there aren't enough molds out now or in the future to be one of them. So I do want the Omnibots, but I feel like that a downshift wasn't likely enough to go on the list. For another honorable mention, I have to mention Sentinel Prime, based on an Astro Train mold. Now, the Titan's Return figure, I feel like works better as Sentinel Prime, considering he's taller and has a bigger stature. Even to the Earthrise and Siege Optimus Prime, it wouldn't fit best with this, but considering they had the same alt modes and it would basically just be a head switch, I feel like it is kind of possible, but not really enough in my opinion. Mainly because, I don't know, we have this figure, and we don't really need another Sentinel Prime right now. And if they want to, they could do it eventually, but for right now, I don't think we're gonna get another Sentinel Prime anytime soon. G1 style Sentinel Prime. So for my last honorable mentions, there are not really any existing figure in hand yet. First would have to be Roller. I would think that they could use Fast Track, but I feel like that mold is a little too far off to make into a Roller figure. Another one, which was originally on the list, but is now not, was Deathsaurus, based on a double dealer mold. Now, I still think this figure is very, very possible, but I feel like there's too much mold change that has to be done to it, remolding. Like I said in my initial rules, I don't want it. The only thing that could be remolded is the head, and I feel like there is too much that would have to be done to that figure for it to be made into Deathsaurus. And for our last honorable mention, Red Cog. Yeah, that's basically it. So with all those honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the list. Starting with number 10. Next on our list is Metro Gun. He is the lowest on the list, mainly because of how obscure he is. Now, this figure would be a repaint of the 6-gun mold, and let's talk about where he's originally from. So, Metro Shot is the weaponizer partner for Metro Titan. Now, I do think this guy is possible to come out, mainly because Rorochi, or whatever he's called, the gold repaint of Fast Track, has been leaked to come out. So I feel like that is a possible thing to really look into. It's a possible thing to look into, and the possibility of Metro Shot coming out is likely. How likely do I think it is? Not too much, considering that we don't really get many Decepticon weaponizers. That's why I put them on the list. But that is basically it. Now let's go to number 9. And next on our list is G2 Megatron, but which one specifically? Well, considering I'm not really going off of any leaks, and the original G2 Megatron was set as a leak for a Generation Selects figure, so that proves that G2 Megatron is possible. Let's throw our hat in there. Let's say we're gonna get the Hero Megatron. Now, if you guys don't know, Hero Megatron is a G2 Megatron, but purple. I feel like it is more possible than Metro Shot, mainly because it's Megatron. It's an easy repaint. But I would personally prefer Metro Shot over that, but I just feel like it's more likely to get a purple Megatron easily with the Earthrise mold. I do think they'd use the Earthrise mold over this one, mainly because I feel like that's what they're going to use for the G2 one. So depending on what the G2 one uses, I think they're just going to repaint that into Hero Megatron. But I think that's about it with Hero Megatron. Let's get into number 8. For number 8, I gotta say, I think this is more likely than both of the two we had, Detritus. Now, that is a very, very odd name, but yes, Detritus. So, I would not say this guy initially. I feel like he is like the most unlikely figure to get, but he is also in the Transformers card game. Now, Detritus is a Junkion, which is very different, but I feel like it is not different enough. I feel like it's different enough to be a new character, and he's classed as a mercenary in that toy line, and they didn't even put any Decepticon logos on the Generation Selects Nightbird figure. So, I do think it is possible to get a Bounty Hunter style Detritus figure. And it would be based off the Siege Hound mold. And I do think this is possible. Not really sure how possible, but I could hope for the best for this figure. I think it would be a very easy repaint. Just paint this whole thing brownish, sand colored. And along with these other early ones in the list, it's a simple put a new slab of paint over it. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Detritus. Let's go to number 7. Number 7. So this is two figures that I feel like have an equal chance to get in. That is Slapdash and Leadfoot. Now Slapdash is an odds figure. I feel like he is very obscure, but very likely. And Leadfoot, I feel like they would want to do that to, in a sense, complete a Wreckers G1 style unit. I feel like Slapdash is more likely than Leadfoot, but I'm putting them both on the list since they're both basically the same color and could be mistaken for each other. So Slapdash, I feel like is more likely, and both of these could be an easy repaint of this Mirage mold. And they did not forget about the molds, considering they're doing Decepticon Mirage. But that is pretty much it for Slapdash and Leadfoot. I think they could just be an easy repaint. Both would need a different head sculpt, but I feel like this mold is very good to use for both of them. But yeah, that's pretty much it for those ones. Number 6, I got another 2-person option. And this would be a repaint of Cliffjumper or Bumblebee, whichever they do, because I am going with 2 comic characters which recently made an appearance in an issue, that being the Valentine's Day special. I think we could get a Tap Out and Glyph. I think, honestly, Glyph could be a Bumblebee repaint, which I do think she is in G1, and a Cliffjumper repaint of Tap Out. I feel like they're very likely to come out. Bumblebee is pretty much guaranteed to come out eventually. He's on the box art, he is on everywhere, and he could just be an easy retool of Cliffjumper. But since I'm kind of going with that, which one do I think is more likely to come out? I think, thinking of the mold, I think this mold would work better for Tap Out. But I feel like Glyph is a more marketable character, a blue bumblebee. The Transformers Collectors Club has done, not that, BotCon has done more repaints of Glyph rather than Tap Out. So I do think Tap Out, I don't think we'd see Tap Out over Glyph. Glyph, I feel like blue is a nicer color to repaint something into rather than a green. But I don't know. I think we're gonna get either one of those as a figure eventually. Don't know when. Maybe BotCon exclusive. But for now, I really hope we get Glyph. We need more female Autobot representation, and Tap Out would be cool too, considering in this comic they are together. But yeah, that's pretty much it with them. So let's go on to number 5. 5 is Scorch. Now, if you don't know who Scorch is, he is a part of the Turbo Masters, or Turbochargers, or whatever they are. So, Scorch is a very obscure character. And the reason I put him so high on the list is because we are getting one character that is from his era. So, if you don't know what this era is from, it's called G1.5. It has a lot of weird characters like Thunder Clash, the Optimus Prime of that era. But Scorch is from that area, and Rotor Storm is from that era. And Rotor Storm has been announced as a leaked figure coming in the Generation Selects line, being a repaint of Spinister. Now, I think this guy has as big of an opportunity to get a repaint in the Hoist or Trailbreaker mold. I think they would probably go with the Hoist mold, preferably for that backpack, but who knows. I think Scorch is a very good choice for a character to come out, and I would really like to see him because I feel like that would be a cool opportunity to fill a set that we haven't gotten in a long time. But that's pretty much my opinion with it. Let's go to number 4. For number 4, I have a couple people on this list, and that is a repaint of this new Seeker mold. Now, of course, we're gonna get Thundercracker, Skywarp, so I'm not counting them. But considering we were kind of announced that we're gonna get Ramjet, Thrust, and Dirge, how about G2 Ramjet? He doesn't get a lot of love. I think we're definitely gonna get a Coneheads repaint of that, and with the new Coneheads mold that will be on the legs. I feel like that a G2 Ramjet is gonna come out, and maybe even a G2 Starscream. But I feel like a mix of the two molds, we are gonna get Nacelle. Now, if you guys don't know, Nacelle is basically Ramjet with a Starscream head, or Thrust, or whoever. I feel like it's very likely we'll get Nacelle as a Target exclusive and exclusive to somewhere. And Nacelle is very cool in my opinion, and I feel like works better with this kind of mold over the Cybertronian Seeker Jet type mold. So I would really like a Nacelle figure, but that's just me. I think all those guys are definitely gonna happen, especially I think if I had to put those in order, it would be G2 Ramjet, Starscream, and Nacelle. But who knows? We never know. We're definitely gonna get repaints of the Seeker mold, but I'm trying to focus on things that aren't really talked about. So let's go to number 3. Number 3, I have a couple figures again. So when we got that initial Spy Patrol wave, I thought we were definitely going to be announced Buzzsaw. And I'm very sad that didn't happen. But I still think we're getting Buzzsaw. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. How would we get Buzzsaw when there aren't really that many known cassettes left? But we do have a couple cassettes left that could be paired. So I've noticed a pattern with the Buzzsaw idea, with packets of figures. So in that, we got 2 of the set. We got one Rumble style figure and one Ratback style figure. Both repainted. So we got basically 2 of these packs together. So this pack would have to be 4 figures, 1 being Buzzsaw, and 2 being the Laserbeak mold, and 2 being the Ravage mold. So what can you do with that? So I definitely think one of those figures would be Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw is a very, well, not marketable, but underrated character that people wanted. I personally wanted, and I really wished we got. But this Ravage mold can definitely be Howlback. Howlback came with the Bumblebee Greatest Hits set as a bigger version of the repaint of Ravage, so they definitely still have that trademark and probably want to keep it, so they could definitely use it as a Generation Selects figure. So, what else can they do with these 2 molds? I've written down a couple options. They could definitely do Garboil, which is a very weird name. It is a repaint of Laserbeak. It's been black, it's been blue. I preferably like the black one, but I feel like to unify them, they would probably do the blue one. And Black Cat. If you didn't know, Black Cat is green Ravage. I don't think that's likely, but that is a Ravage repaint idea. They could definitely do Sundor and Stripes, but they haven't alluded to anything related to Blaster, so I doubt they would do that. And this is what I really want, and what I think is likely. So like I said, I do think we are going to get a Deathsaurus figure coming eventually. Mainly because Deathsaurus is a character that really needs a figure. I feel like the Double Dealer mold really works for that. But Deathsaurus made his appearance in the latest issue of Transformers Galaxies, the Cliffjumper one. And I do think Deathsaurus could be renamed. And considering Double Dealer has that reporter gimmick, why not Tiger Breast and Eagle Breast? Now, I know those are strange names, and they could definitely rename them into something else, but I think Tiger Breast and Eagle Breast are perfect repaints for these 2 guys. And they could even remold the head of this to be a Laserbeak styled head. I don't know. This is a big idea if they do this. So basically, to sum it up, personally, I think what we'd get is Buzzsaw, Howlback, Tiger Breast, and Eagle Breast as the 4 packs together. But let's go on to number 2. Number 2, I have Hauler. Now, I would put Inferno and the Target Master repaint of him on this list, but they would have to be considered a remold. Now, Hauler, on the other hand, is not a remold. He is simply this figure but green, and I think that is definitely going to happen. I feel like that is very likely to happen with the figure like this. A good figure that also needs a fix on the back. I really hope that isn't an issue on a potential repaint, but I think Hauler is a definite case. I would love to put him standing next to my Devastator, and I'd really like to see this figure come out looking very cool. He is a part of the original arc, and he was also alluded to in the Transformers Hall of Fame type thing. Hauler was an option you could pick, so I feel like that is a bit of detail that could be hinting at Hauler. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's go on to number 1. Was going to be Deathsaurus, and I was going to take out Hero Megatron and Metrogun. But since I changed up the rules saying that they have to be just basically a head change or and just repainted, I took out Deathsaurus since he had too much on him. Now, my new number 1 is another Cliffjumper repaint. Now, this goes with Hubcap and Bumblebee. Now, Hubcap was confirmed. Bumblebee is definitely happening. Who are we missing? We're missing Bumper. Bumper is a definite repaint, and a definite figure I want to see when it comes to an Earthrise toy line type thing. I feel like he's a definite for the Generation Selects line, or a box set, because as you know, we got one of the Power Dashers in the box set, or something like that. I do think we are definitely going to see a Bumper figure with the Clip Jumper mold, considering we're also getting Hubcap and Bumblebee. Yeah, that's pretty much it with Bumper. I feel like he is obscure enough, but people know about him and will appreciate getting him. Now that has to do it for this list. Now, I gave my honorable mentions, I gave my everything, but how do I think these figures will come out? Generation Selects. The Generation Selects, I feel like, is a good way to do it. We got a good number of obscure characters. We got a G2 Combat Megatron, Nightbird, Power Dashers. We got a good number of characters. And I do think some of these guys could definitely go in Generation Selects, or at least half of them, like Glyph and Bumper. So, and also, like I said, Amazon did a box set of Impactor, Mirage, and Aragon. So I do think these are likely to come out somehow, and BotCon is coming back, but hopefully this virus thing dies down, so then eventually in a couple years I could go to BotCon and get those exclusives. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this list. This was just a fun experimental list. Hopefully all these guys come out. These are guys I really want to see come out eventually, but you never know. Hasbro always likes to surprise us with things. So if you all enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I have a couple more lists planned in the future, but for now I'm going to keep up the reviews coming along, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye guys.